Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Winning Together podcast. This is Shay, the Shark Azlet. I've got Jared Joyboy Casey with me, the coach, the clinician, recovery, winning, and being alive in your life. Joyboy, tell me about the joy you've generated this week.
Your radio voice is getting really good. I love it.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. My joy has been really around feeling other people succeed, hearing other people's stories. Sometimes in this industry, it's the other way. You hear a lot of down, a lot of sad, and that can pull on you. But we've had some really incredible shared experiences this week that I'm just super grateful for, and finding some peace in that has been big for me.
You don't always hear the good stories or the things that go well, or how your part in somebody else's story was played out, right? And I think life loves us enough to help us understand and experience some of that as a receiving way to generate energy in our lives and to continue being the main characters and heroes in our own, adventure story.
Totally.
As you take the ride with us today, let me give you an idea of what the map holds. The map and the adventure we're going to go on today is mindfulness. Humans have been practicing it for millennia. Science is showing so many ways that our body benefits in our brain and our lives. And people that practice most often experience a different life experience that's worth any changes or work or sacrifices to get there. What we're going to cover, the high level is, Jared, we got to talk about the way we tell the stories in our life about what we tell the stories about that are not keeping us present or that are getting in the way of getting where we want to go, how our brain interprets those messages, so chemically, the way it wires, and then we're going to make sure we tie in how are you taking care of this great machine, your body that you're operating through, and how to feed it, not just what you put into it, but what you put around it, how you interact with stressors or stimuli in your life. And really, this podcast, it's sponsored by I'm Recovery. And what I love about what they do over there is recovery is a practice. It applies to everyone all day, every way. Whether you need to recover from something or you're working through something, you know somebody who is, and it's a practice. So the takeaways from here should be, I can practice that. I can do that. I'll go there or figure that out and find somebody who can do it with me because we win together. Jared, you're the clinician. You're the man really with the master plan. Do you want to talk about kind of the story piece of kind of using substances or addictions or poor behavior? Or do you want to talk kind of like how that's breaking down in your brain and how that's driving different behavior?
I think the appropriate place to start is why. If we don't know why to practice mindfulness or why it's important for us, it's just more work. And I find that when I work with my clients or with their families.
Thank you for bringing that up because I was kind of skipping right past that. But yeah, you've got to understand, well, why is the change worth it?
Yeah, where's my benefit? I mean, we're all a little bit narcissistic that way. We need some benefit. We need to know why. So the first piece that I think is important for why is to understand that if you develop a mindfulness practice, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel more calm. You're going to feel more energetic. You're going to breathe better. You're going to think better. The list goes on. And essentially what we see with a lot of our clients that aren't able to practice mindfulness or don't know how to practice mindfulness, they have more anxiety than the average bear. They have more depression than the average bear. They hold a lot of that in.
They catch less fish than the average bear.
They catch less fish. They spend a lot of time in the past, depressing thoughts in the past, or anxiousness in the future, and too much worry about what's coming.
It's a dark wolf. It has to get fed. And the way you feed it or how you feed it is the way that you're either experiencing or generating emotions or thoughts or what you're choosing to put into your body or put around your body.
So here's the piece, Shay, and this is a piece when I first learned about mindfulness. I thought of like this monk up in a cave.
Totally.
Legs crossed, one finger in the sky. I don't know, like just doing crazy stuff.
Although the stereotype is fading, that is still where a lot of people go.
That's not really it. I mean, It's not that important. For me, it may look totally different for you, and there's not really a right or wrong way to do it. It's just doing something that creates space for your thoughts to calm, for you to be present, to feel alive. And you're the guru in this, so I'm not going to go too deep into that. I want to hear some of your mindfulness practice as we go through this.
You bet.
But for me, some of the simplest stuff is understanding there is a benefit, and it's not that complicated. You can do it anytime, anywhere. If you have 1 minute of your day, you can practice mindfulness in that 1 minute. If you're waiting in line somewhere, or you're having a hard time falling asleep, or you're just trying to like calm your mind for 10 seconds, you can practice mindfulness. So putting this in a practical sense, you can put away your robes, you can blow out the candles, you can, wait, don't have to wait till the moon and the stars align. You can do this.
You can put the $5,000 back in the, on the credit card and not fly to an ashram in India. It's okay. So they're not getting there, but it's not a natural state either. So it doesn't matter if somebody's in substance or recovery, it's a practice for, I think, anybody I've seen. Is that right?
Oh yeah, definitely. A lot of the research was pointing to societally, we have created more anxiety and depression than ever. You throw in there a pandemic, and there's new terminology coming out, like people are burning out, and they're worn out, and they're COVID stressed and COVID fatigue, and just these different terms. We're learning a new language through this pandemic, and it's just piling on top of what we already struggle with. And everybody is struggling to some degree with anxiety nowadays, depression, loneliness. It's all adding up.
I think be aware that if you have this idea that if I just go to the gym consistently for 3 months, then it'll be automatic and I won't have to like gut up and go. And mindfulness is the same way. The desire to punk out never goes away. You just get better and better practicing it in small or the valuable ways for you at the right times more and more.
I want to share the simplest way that I practice mindfulness. It's called a 4x4 breathing technique. You breathe in for 4 seconds. You hold your breath for 4 seconds. You breathe out for 4 seconds. And you don't breathe back in for 4 seconds. Then you do that several times. And the first couple of times, it feels awkward. For me, at least, it's that not breathing back in is strange. But what it does is it triggers the parasympathetic response in your body, and it allows your body to quite literally relax and decompress and detoxify just during those moments. And your breathing will get deeper, your state of mind will get calmer, and you'll be present. So if you're, like I said, this is something you should practice before the emergency comes, or before the craving, or before like it's really stressful, but you can do it then too. But it's just something simple. If you practice this during that 1 minute, that 2 minutes, that 3 minutes, and do it every day, you train your body to go to a relaxing state and relieve some of the stress that's it's going through. And then when you really need it, it's accessible.
Get out of your lower brain and into your higher brain, right? So you're getting out of the back side of your head into the front side of your head, where you can make decisions that have the consequences that correlate to what you want in your life, instead of reacting or letting your lower brain, your reptilian brain hijack your actions and then having to go and clean up the consequences from actions that are, they definitely have a survival usefulness and sometimes are appropriate. Often, is an addiction for a lot of people. They want to feel anger or sadness or victim or villain, and they let themselves be taken over. They don't smoke, they don't drink, they don't do drugs, but boy, they get those emotions like it's nobody's business. And I think that whatever you really want in your life that's good for you and those around you, it comes from your higher brain. So the more time you can get there and be there, especially at important junction points and inflection points with the relationships that matter the most, I mean, that's what you're after, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I see this in my own life and with my clients too, where I'm putting so much energy into what I'm going to get to someday, or something in my past that I'm not over yet, or something in their past I'm not over yet, that I can't ever slow down. And then our society especially it kind of incentivizes you to be that person. There's so many different pieces that push it. And in the Japanese culture, they've actually come up with a term, and I can't remember the word for it, of death by overwork.
Yep.
They have a word for that, and it's a common death in their charting. Oh, he died, he worked too much. And he's 35 years old. So you shut down your body's ability to keep up when you live that way. You drain your adrenal system so much that it just breaks down. And you'll see that people who operate this way, myself included at many times in my life, have health issues. They have stomach issues, they have muscle issues, they have bone issues. They have all kinds of issues that they go to a doctor, they go to lots of doctors. I had a client tell me yesterday that when she first got her stomach issues, she went to almost 30 doctors.
Wow.
Nobody could tell her what was wrong until one said, "You have anxiety, and it's bad. You probably want to think about that."
Just holding it there in their body, right?
Holding it in.
The human creature is the only creature that can think something and your body will respond as if it's real. And so then the choice point is you deciding, and I think, so one is becoming aware, like, okay, the cost benefit of this behavior is not working anymore.
Completely.
I'm dad, my sons don't like me, or we are just fighting, or my wife can't stand me, or I can't stand me, whatever it is. First of all, you're like, okay, I want to like myself. I want to feel a little bit better, a little bit lighter, a little more engaged or connected, whatever it is. And I found if you can like just practice on your own before, like you can think about the situation when your like son who you love and is just like you, which is the one that's driving you mad, some situations. And then practice that 4x4 ahead of time. And then let people around you know that I'm practicing doing different. I don't want to be this guy and I don't know how to do it, but I listened to the coach and the clinician. They said mindfulness is where I need to start. So I want to become aware of how I'm acting and reacting. So you're free to give me feedback and I'm going to breathe through my nose and like it's going to be kind of weird, maybe a little funny, but it doesn't mean that I'm upset or angry. I'm trying to do something different. So it's just like that. If you have a conversation like that with yourself or those around you, that's how you then create space for practicing something different.
When we have increased anxiety or increased stress, our operating system is more in the lower part of the brain. But when you start putting these little pieces in, all right, I know if something upsets me, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to get angry. I'm going to get mad. I'm going to get frustrated. All that blood leaves the top of my brain and goes below. But if you can start building...
It's called flooding, isn't there a term?
Yeah,
like
it's flooding.
You're getting emotionally flooded, right?
You're flooded. And it takes time to recover.
Like 10 to 30 minutes, right?
Men take longer.
Yep. Men more disposed or predisposed to, or it affects men more deeply than women.
And if you're already at a pretty low tolerance because you're stressed all the time or you're anxious all the time, it doesn't take as much to tip you over the edge.
Yep.
So the concept here is let's increase our ability to handle stress and decrease our stress with this mindfulness tool. For me, I put in a statement with mine. If I start to feel frustration or heat or struggle, I'll say to myself, what do I want to have happen? Just a statement. And that statement, it forces my analytical brain, the top of my brain, to actually keep the blood in there and keep thinking. And then that might be followed up with some questions of, well, I don't want to look like an idiot. I don't want to be this. I don't want to act like that guy. And then I may be able to get to some reasoning and say, I need to breathe. Okay, I need to get back to my breathing. I need to go on a walk. I need to take some time before I respond. So just that tool itself quite literally creates let's just say some neuronic connections in your brain that weren't being used. They were so unused that they didn't ever work or didn't work well enough that they start to strengthen and they start to become the go-to path instead of the 10th choice.
Mm. I think also being aware that your neural pathways form a certain way. And when you become, so the awareness part is what allows you to create a different opportunity. A gazelle, when it sees a lion, has a reaction. Done. You, when you see a lion, you're actually going to say, that lion actually only has 2 legs. I'm probably going to be okay. Or there's 30 people around me. I can run faster than half of them, so I'm out.
You're not running me.
Yeah, exactly. Or, hey, there's a gazelle over there. It probably wants that more than me. And so when you can reason like that and start saying, and here at the Winning Together podcast, we want you to want what you want. And I think that the biggest story you have to smash is I can't have. Because then your mindfulness is not going to get activated because you don't know what the point is because you can't get what you want anyway. So practice, even if it's just you hope to want what you want. Start there. But then that creates a space for you to then see the situation in a different perspective. And if you can see in a different perspective, there might be different solutions and different ways of doing it. And here's the kicker. You show up in the same situation as a different person, even slightly, you elicit a different person from the people around you. Doesn't matter how long you've been in the relationship. Doesn't matter that you've been married for this amount of time. Doesn't matter you've always been that way. Doesn't matter.
But Shay, that takes me letting go of my pride.
Ooh. Yeah. Don't let go of it. Just don't grip it so tightly.
Oh, yeah.
Just allow, and this idea of just like, okay, don't let go of your pride, but try feeling a little bit better in that situation, or being just a little easier to love, or a little easier to work with, or a little easier to get along with. Because what you really want is to do well, or what you really want is to connect, or what you really want is great sex, or what you really want is like play ball with your son. Okay, then just move in that direction a little bit.
Yeah, that question, what do I really, really want? And when you ask it like that, it turns into a desire.
Yeah.
And those things we desire, we go get. If I'm really, really hungry for an In-N-Out burger, I'm going to find a way to get it by the end of the day. Mm-hmm. I desire it now. I don't just want it.
Might complain about the 30-minute wait you're waiting in line, but you're going to desire it, and you're going to get it, and you're going to love it.
That same concept applies when we're not practicing mindfulness. Our brains, they go on automatic pilot. So if we have these cravings, these struggles, we're going to move towards them with just as much tenacity on automatic. And I want to share just a simple example of that. We have this come up a lot. I had a client tell me that I love heroin, and got excited, and her face was smiling, and there was excitement, and there's this response system kicking in that says, I'm going to go get that. I'm going to go get it. And, oh, but wait, there's these things in the way. Oh, my family will disown me. My friends won't talk to me anymore. There's a lot of negatives. And then the voice changes. The feeling changes to, oh, I can't have that. But I really want it. And it's no longer a desire, though, because there's something in the way. There's something in the way important. And that's where families become really pivotal in holding healthy boundaries, is they help people pull back that desire to, I'm accountable. I'm going to help you be accountable. I'm going to hold a healthy boundary, and now it's going to turn into a want. And eventually you can find a different neuronic pathway to love the feelings that came with heroin, but in an organic, healthy way, in a harmonious way, instead of a inorganic, synthetic that quite literally kills you and kills people every day and hurts everyone you love and know.
Well, I'm glad you're going there. And it's telling the whole story, right? Because part of the interaction you had, tell me the other part of the interaction where you said, okay, you love heroin. Great. Feels awesome. You love how it makes you feel. Great. And how did you help them tell the whole story?
And heroin kills babies. And heroin's poisonous. And it has people kill themselves all the time. It destroys relationships. And when someone's still stuck in their love for their addiction or love for their thing, they get really defensive. Mm-hmm. And that person started getting a little angry towards me. It's like, oh, don't touch that. I'm not ready to break up with heroin yet. You don't even tell me solutions. Don't even tell me suggestions. Don't even paint it ugly, because now you're talking about my lover. That hurts. Don't do that.
Best boyfriend, girlfriend I've ever had.
So, a lot of people in recovery, they have to renegotiate and re-see how they view their drug of choice or drugs of choices, and to any way they can to see the pain, to feel the pain, to understand what it actually is, just to slap them, to wake them up, and then do something different until that different becomes meaningful and full of purpose and fulfilling, and the life becomes worth living.
And it's the same conversation you have with a teenage son with a workaholic dad, that the workaholic dad says, I'm on your case and I'm angry and you need to get this done right now or else you're not going to get a good job and you're not going to be like responsible and reliable and you should learn now because, et cetera, et cetera. Well, what's the cost? Because right now, son doesn't even want to be in your life. So are you doing all this so that son will be in your life, or are you doing this because it's the best thing or the right thing or whatnot? So I think it's, whether, you stop it if you're thinking that drugs and addicts are for other people. Like, you've got your thing too. You've got your deal, like your, holier than thou attitude, or your they should just stop attitude, or I'm fine attitude, whatever it is. So it's the same conversation, and it's the same attitude, and it's the same telling the whole story.
Well, we save our favorite vices. We want to wait and hold them on as long as we can. And whatever that is, Shay, it's different for all of us. But when we're really willing to look at them and really willing to do the work, we will let people know. We will engage our support systems, our loved ones, our accountability partners. Like you said, let your kids know what you're working on. Let your family know what you're working on. Start spreading it out there. And that's really a strong indication that you're ready to change. And if you've got a family member who's struggling with something and they start asking you for accountability, that's a good sign.
Yeah, those are buying words. Like, I want to buy that car. I want to be in your life. Okay, well, don't push them away. And often that is at the same point that they're hurting you the most. So it's, I get it. They're asking you to hug them, but they're a porcupine. Yep, I get it.
So pokey.
Mm-hmm. So if you can get them to lower their quills a little bit, let them know that, hey, I don't want to hug you, but I'll hold your hand. Hey, I'll be there with you. I'll do what I can and meet you where at so we can make some progress in that direction.
So Shay, put it into practical words for us. How do you practice mindfulness? How do you suggest our listeners to just really buy in and go?
So I'm going to get there by asking you to kind of tell a little bit more about physically. So when you were talking to this, this group and this person saying, I love heroin, and they're lighting up and they're like, no, okay, great. You love heroin. It also kills babies, and it's, et cetera. You've also observed, so let's talk about the chemistry and physical reaction in there, and let's use that to get to kind of some of the practices there.
Yeah, so just observing the body language, excitement, perking up, smiling, feeling like the words get quicker to, all right, let's talk about all the other things. Slowing of the voice, shoulder slouching, body decompressing, almost like, I got homework assignments coming. Like, it's just this drudgery feeling that when am I going to get back to happy? And I don't want to do the time in sad. I don't want to do the time in frustration. I just want my life to be happy and good. And I want control of it, and don't take that from me. So that physical body reacts as a way like, this feeling is not good. Let's change the channel. I'm not watching this show. It's not for me. I only want to watch comedies. That's what I need. So that there's that reaction physically and mentally to come up.
And that's going to manifest by not being connected. And when you don't want to connect, you withdraw. You've seen people lift their feet or put their hands in close. You'll start flipping the script on somebody else and say, well, you don't do this. It's something that's not on topic. Or you will silence or violence is how it shows up in relationships.
Totally.
It will turn to alienation, leave me alone, that kind of stuff. So the practice is, and I'm really glad you talked about desire. So the practice is desiring what you have and wanting where you're at, okay? When you decide that I want joy more than I want whatever you're going through, life and the universe and God and the whole troop of them love you enough to let you know that what you need to do is right in front of you. The person you need to love, right in front of you. The job you need to do, right in front of you. The trial you need to do, right in front of you. So if you'll get present to okay, I don't want that other thing. If I only had that thing, I'd be good. You practice desiring what you have and wanting where you're at by having fresh eyes. So you create this new like time, this minute where like, what if I took my eyes out and put new ones in from that person in the hospital who says, I will do anything, God, to have whatever it is you have in your life. Somebody out there is praying for it, and you've already got it. So if you put that perspective on and be like, okay, new fresh eyes. What if I really love this person? What if this person really is trying their hardest? What if, you know what, money wasn't an issue? How do we do that? So the fresh eyes allows you to skip past some of the brain circuitry you developed, either resentments or anger or frustration or, real harm to the relationship, trust. It allows you to kind of skip that for a minute to kind of get more clear on what it is you want and where you could go, maybe, if you would look at the problem with different eyes to come up with different solutions. So I think that's the start is desiring what you have. Dance with the person you brought.
Love the one you're with.
Love the one you're with.
That perspective of being present with every relationship in your life, every person, every animal, everything, that you're not just going around the world as a blob that is waiting for the next moment or the next endorphin rush to come or the next great Marvel movie to come out, which doesn't come out ever. So
applying the swipe practice to your life will destroy your adrenal gland, your sanity, your peace, your endocrine system. Anything that develops stress hormones in your body will just fry you.
No, the devil's advocate is if I practice all this and I don't get what I want, and then what? Am I a failure? Am I a bad person? Did I just prove myself right? Am I not good enough? All that language that kind of comes back and that feeling. What do we do about that?
The place that you've got to be willing to consider to operate from is something bigger than you. So whether it's a happy family, whether it's a trip somewhere, whether it's a healthy body, whether it's a relationship with somebody that you don't have a relationship with, God, mountains, streams, art, if you can put something that's bigger than you, that's the only thing that's going to give you the momentum or the will to go through the suffering and the pain and the setbacks and the struggle to realize what it is you really want. I want to be more fit. I want to be less angry. I want to stop doing heroin forever. Okay, well, what's bigger than you then? My relationship with my dad. You know what? I have all sorts of toys. I'll sell my toys. That's bigger than me because I'm making me the thing that can do it. So you got to go after something that's bigger than you.
And what I hear is sacrifice. You got to be willing to give to get. What are you willing to give up to get something better? There's this picture of Jesus holding this little doll behind his back, and it's this big, huge stuffed animal. And there's this little girl in front of him with a little tiny stuffed animal. And he says, "Here, give me that. Give me your little stuffed animal." And while she can't see what's behind him, there's something much bigger waiting for you. And if you just are willing to exchange, give a little, like you got this little stuffed animal, give it for something greater. There's something greater and attached to that greater. Now, if you're swiping through your life, you're not going to see that. If you're never putting your phone down, if you're never turning the news off, if you're always watching TV or you're always sleeping in,
if you're blaming everyone else,
you're going to miss your life. It's going to be over. Life goes fast. And the more you spend in the idle, wasteful space, the less you get done, the more unfulfilled everything is in your life, and the more you fall back into a place of misery. And misery is a great teacher. It just sucks. It sucks. And, if that's a lot of the start point for a lot of our clients is, my life sucks. I want something different. And then they start to get a good life for a while, and their head starts to fill up with awesome information, knowledge, skills, tools, call it a head full recovery. Some of them get a half a head full of recovery, and then they start to get complacent. Oh, I'm good. Now I can have both. My they trust me again, and they don't know what I'm doing on the weekends.
Great example. Keep going with that.
And you're only as sick as your secrets. So I'll not tell them this, I'll tell them this, and then we stop practicing integrity, we stop practicing honesty, we stop practicing consistency, we start sleeping in again, all these different pieces, and before you know it, it just caught me off guard. It came out of nowhere. I don't know what happened. And I lost everything. I lost my job. I lost my family. I lost custody. I'm broke. I'm sad. I'm depressed. I want to die, but I won't pull the trigger because I'm not that kind of person. And boom, right back to misery. So I got to go get a head full of recovery again and try to fill it up this time and keep it full through consistency and practice. Consistency and practice.
One of the axioms that you alluded to is that people that take their talents and bury them, they don't get any more. It's the giving. It's in the being willing to give something that's precious to you or important to you away, trusting that you live in a benevolent universe and that it will find a way to compensate you.
And it's comfortable burying those things. There's security in that. Oh, I know it's always in my back pocket. It's there. But that which you hide, you lose. Period. May not be today, may not be tomorrow, but it will be lost. And when it's lost, you'll have nothing.
One of the sayings in our home is, what you appreciate appreciates, and what you don't appreciate depreciates. And that's just how it is. And I like how you said that the complacency there where, I'm good. The kind of, I get to this place and now I'm good. And what I found, you can never be strong if you don't be stronger. And if you start becoming Uncle Rico, i.e., the guy who, high school, he was a star, but he's 35 now. If you start going on past successes or whatnot, there's your sign. You are not present. You are not where you need to be. And you need to start listening to what's going on around you.
So true. And in that space, you're asking people how they're doing. You're listening to others. You're being present. You're showing up for people. You're serving. You're looking for ways to secretly give and share of yourself. You're picking up the lettuce on the floor that someone else dropped and hoping that nobody notices. Just 'cause. You're putting back the carts at the store. You're saying hi to people. You're smiling. You're driving more friendly. You're being present in your life. You're checking out the sunsets. You're pulling over and seeing the sky and the clouds. You're there. You're alive.
Another shift there for the mindfulness is if you can focus on your planting seeds and not that you're always trying to harvest, you're in a situation often in misery where you feel the lack is so poignant that you feel so empty that you just feel like if you had that one thing, that one windfall, that you'd be, you could get back to just even zero, you'd be okay. Sorry, that's not how it works. But if you can look at, I'm planting seeds each day, doing those things you just described, those are seeds. The law of the harvest is if you plant, you will reap. But if you're not planting, you're just always trying to reap and trying to get to that place because then you're good. There is no place. Sorry, it's a state of being. And, that's part of the practice as well.
That just reminded me of in ancient times when you'd walk through a farmer's field and there was wheat. The law of the harvest was you're a traveler. You can take what you can fit in your hand. You can pull what you can fit in your hand just to get through, to survive. That's about as much as you should take. It's what you need to survive. But the rest of the time, there's farmers planting. They're creating those seeds for those people around them, and then there's more than enough for everyone.
Do we need to make a distinction between mindfulness and awareness?
I don't think there is much of a distinction.
Okay.
I think awareness is the first piece of it. That, all right, I'm aware that I am operating with other things in this universe, and I'm not a selfish pig, and I should be giving more than I take. And then the mindfulness piece is practicing that space of letting your body relax, letting yourself be there for other people, letting yourself give and share this life, having that shared experience. To me, that's the presence, the living presently. It's when you get home and you put your phone down and you play with your kids, or you kiss your wife, or you spend time hearing other people or doing other things. So all those little seeds we talked about, that's the space that I hope we're getting from this message is, yes, practice it to slow down so you can be aware, and then use that awareness to live a better way.
I like the analogy you used in one of our workshops recently of kind of this Big Bang theory of addiction where there's been this eruption with maybe someone close to you in addiction, and now things are better, and you're hoping that as the universe expands, it'll get right. And yep, if you got an uncountable amount of years, yep, you do. But we don't. And I think, the idea of creating some gravity around the planets that are important to you, you got to create gravity around the planets that are important to you, and then look around you. So you got to decide, like, planet joy, that's one I've got to have. Planet connection, got to do it. Planet go and hike, I've got to do it. So when you start like creating gravity around those planets with those practices, you start attracting what it is you feel like you're lacking, but not by going out and getting it, but allowing it to come to you.
And yet in that practice, you have to let go of fear. You've already watched it explode. It's already blown up. It's already been hot. It's already raw material. That's always going to be there. But now you have this chance, this opportunity to build what you really, really want and turn it into a desire.
I hadn't thought about the fear part there. There's a lot of that.
So much.
It's an enemy to that for sure.
I mean, we had one family share how they walk on eggshells now. They're waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, oh, our family member's been in recovery for a little over a year and we still don't see them. When is that day going to come that we get to see them, that we get to have family pictures again, that we get to play with them and feel like it's okay to have an open conversation? Oh, but he used to explode.
I can give him criticism about some stuff that he still need to work on.
Yeah, when we can talk, where I can resolve my side of my frustration. Maybe I can get some amends made when I can tell him how bad I was hurt. So that waiting space of, when is the big bang going to happen in my life? Is it a million years from now? Billion? I don't know. It's not going to happen unless you let go of the old ways, let them be, and then build planet joy, planet connection, planet we communicate, planet we respect each other, planet when we say we're going to do something, we do it. We show up, we suit up.
So here's a great analogy, and then I want to have you kind of help us bring it home to practices we can apply. So here's the takeaway. Here's a great description of what the difference is here, everyone. Here's mindfulness versus being like around. Kids remember when their parents took them to the hotel on the vacation and jumped in the pool with them, not the times you sat there on the bench or on the beach chair and watched them, said, hey, good job. Oh, that's so fun for you. And they said, Dad, Mom, come in, sis, come in. Come just do it for swimming. You're like, you're just way too cool for school. Like, you're just too cool. No.
Or too tired.
Too tired. Whatever hogwash you're telling yourself, when you get to that point and you look back and you want regrets, do that. You don't want regrets, jump in the pool. And I think that's the mindfulness is, okay, you're at the hotel, you're right next to the pool, you may even have a bathing suit on. Take your shirt off, or make sure you leave the towel, jump in the water. If you're a guy, of course, jump in the water and get wet. That's what is memorable. And when it's memorable, then you're mindful. And when you're mindful and present and you let go of the fear, the future can surprise you. Because if your future's not, there's not some surprise there, you will get what you got and you'll be where you're at. So quit complaining. If there's an element of surprise, like uncertainty, there has to be to create something new. And if you're willing to surrender to something bigger than you that has power to do it, that's where you're able to lay off the fear and let something happen magical.
Get in the pool.
Get in the pool.
I love that. And I think if you've been doing that, give yourself a pat on the back.
Touche.
Let yourself feel proud. You've been doing your best. That's really all it is. And if you haven't been doing that, hopefully you take that away today and you see, wow, I can do that. I can do that one thing.
And it doesn't matter how long, by the way. You don't have to get the football and you just have to jump in, laugh a little bit, get right back out. It's just a start. You just got to get wet and then be open to whatever happens next.
Beautiful.
So clinician, did we cover some of the science behind it, some of the chemistry, some of the patterns, some of the story? Is there anything else you want to kind of flesh out?
I want to give just one more tool that I think is really practical. I had a client once that was having a severe panic attack, just anxiety through the roof, panic attack, not breathing, frustrated. And a fellow clinician started describing a bowl of soup. Put this bowl of soup in front of you. Breathe it in. What does it taste like? How does it feel? Is it hot? Is it cold? What's the texture? Did you spill some? How does that feel? Like, it just engaging the 5 senses, boom, like that. Popped out of the panic attack. Okay, let's keep eating that soup. Well, now what? And just putting this simple tool, if you're struggling, you're feeling high anxiety, and you can't go to the 4x4, you can't even think that far, you're struggling, ground yourself. Find a way to ground. The extreme case is the 5 senses soup. Let's engage that. The less extreme is, what's your go-to song? What's that smooth rock you can keep in your pocket? You know, what's that smell? Maybe you have an essential oil you smell and it just feels good, or a cologne you like. What's that thing you can taste? You know, that gum brand that reminds you of something sweet. Pull yourself into the present. And then from there, you at least have a baseline to operate and move towards whatever you're looking for.
I just absolutely love that. What we're experiencing and seeing is also there is a lot of processing. Other issues are just problems. Are just it's just different. A lot of kids and adults are having these challenges that we haven't seen in this level before of being able to process the information. So stimulus is coming at you, the stress goes up, and the funnel is just not wide enough to process. Like your bandwidth is just not there. And I love that idea of helping somebody process and slowing it down to something that's so concrete. And so like they have a neural pathway for that favorite soup or food and what it feels like and tastes like. And once you go there, you kind of aren't using the same like bandwidth or the same funnel. And now you have access to the other one, and now you're taking that pressure off, and now the stream can flow, and now the parasympathetic can come over and start like taking over, right?
Now, I want to emphasize one point here. In our society, we learn a lot of skills. We learn a lot of things to help us be more efficient, better, get more success, whatever that is. That can also be a double-edged sword. We've taught you a couple of really powerful skills here today. That doesn't mean that you should do more. You should still probably do less. You should still find ways to reduce your stress, reduce your anxiety, spend more time self-care, taking care of who you are. The trap is, I learned how to relax myself when I'm in a panic attack. I can have more panic attacks. No. What are the roots? What's under there? And more times than not, it's this lack of harmony. We're living in the future or the past. We're not in the present. So get present. Find that space where you are there with your family, where you're there with yourself, where you're in the mountain, you're by the stream, you're breathing the fresh air, you're living a higher quality life.
And what I want to dovetail with that is one of the reasons I like so much that soup strategy, or tactic, is I also see so many people that you've got to get into your body, walk, stop, and just like close your eyes and just feel like your body. Touch your heart, yeah. Appreciate your feet that get you everywhere without ever complaining, or maybe they are complaining. Well, validate them. Let them know, like, yeah, I'm super overweight. Thank you for carrying my overweight self there right now. I appreciate that. I will love you back somehow.
Talk nice to them.
Talk nice. Be good. Quit it with the put downs and stuff, because then you're out of your body. Find ways to be in your body. And if you can do that and not react to the initial pushback, because it's uncomfortable, it's hard, you don't feel good, it's sweaty, it's not the right time.
It's got too much love handle fat.
Whatever it is, whatever dumb thing you make up and I make up, and it's get in your body. It's not about time or what. It's actually really about quality and choosing a way that works for you.
Shay, if that's a takeaway that I want to give to you, is I wasn't really connecting that so well before. I thought of mindfulness as mostly in the head and how you're thinking and how you're breathing. But our bodies are so powerful, and so many people are so disconnected. So just hearing that from you really helps me reemphasize, listen to my body, listen to my stretches. I need a stretch. Listen to what it needs. Rest, relax, take that time and really connect. Thank you for sharing that.
It's the instrument that we experience this awesome, time in existence, right? And we don't appreciate it.
And I know sometimes trauma causes people to lose that connection.
Totally.
And they're dead from the neck down, and until they work through that trauma to reactivate the body. So if you're one of those who's dead from the neck down, touch your body. Touch it. Feel it. Talk to it. It really does listen. There's cells in our whole body with memory, and they can listen and hear what we say to it. They can feel us.
And they respond.
And they respond. And if you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, just that mole or that fatty spot or whatever, it's listening too. And it's absorbing it. Oh, I guess I'm not good enough for master up there in the brain cave. And I wonder why it feels sicker. I wonder why the back hurts more. I wonder why you get thicker and chunkier if you're not happy, if you're always complaining about it.
What you focus on expands. If you focus on your love handles, shocker, they get bigger. So yeah, the big deal, the big effing deal about what you're saying is that's why watching TV doesn't generate energy, because you're in your head, you're not in your body. So great, you want to take some downtime watching a show? Just do 10 push-ups, do some sit-ups, jumping jacks, stretch, yeah, and then you'll have a much different experience, and you won't feel like you need to keep watching something and consuming something because it's only hitting your head. It's not into your body.
So brilliant.
Yeah, super simple, super effective. The talk is you've got to talk nice. And finally, something I found extremely effective. Don't focus on being like like you feel bad. Don't try and feel good. Actually, just less bad. If you really feel like just heavy, just go for a little less heavy. Or if you feel muddy or cloudy, just go for a little more clarity. And if you stay general like that, your body can respond and you don't get stuck thinking it has to look a certain way. You're just like, oh, you know what? The way I brush my teeth actually feels a little bit better. You can just find 100 different ways in that moment just to lighten a little bit, or just generally. Don't go specific, be general, and you'll find it work magic.
Even to simplify that even a little more, if you want to go even more simple, do the same routines different. Brush your teeth with your left hand. Put your pants on the other way.
And I dare you not to smile while you do it.
Yeah.
I dare you.
And what that does is it just sends signals to your brain, reroute.
Yep.
Do something different.
New experience.
My left-handed writing is going to be fun. It's going to be different. And it's going to respond some other way. And you change something in the system to move. And if one thing moves, it touches another. Everything touches everything else.
And when there's surprise, guess what? When your brain is not expecting the expected, it looks for different things. And you become, more mindful and aware.
Totally.
That's a great place to bring it home. Jared Joyboy Casey, the clinician on the mission with the master plan, and he's got his coach, Shay the Shark Aslet. Thank you for sharing time with us. That's how you spell love. We also spell love, imrtc.com. The way you call love is 801-407-9998. I'm sorry, I think I said 4. In America, it's 801-407-9998. We spell love by winning together. Go generate love. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Today's podcast is brought to you by I Am Recovery and Counseling in Utah. If you know anyone who is looking for outpatient services or sober living, please reach out to us at 801-407-9998. You can also find us at www.iamrtc.com.